Hey everyone! Hello! How's it going? I know I need to finish this game because I keep wanting to look up stuff for it, so that's like my sign of like, I just gotta beat it. I just gotta beat it. Because I want to see all the things. And I don't want to spoil something for myself, so I'm like, I gotta just get through it. Gotta just get through it. So good. I'm pretty sure we can finish it today. Pretty sure we can finish it. At least the days seem to be going a lot faster because I know what I need to do each day. But we still have a lot of stuff to figure out. But I'm very excited. Hope everyone's having a good day. D&D is still canceled for me, so we took off for the Strahd campaign I'm in. We took off the past like few weeks for holidays. We'll be starting up next Tuesday, so. And we're almost done with that too. I'm excited. Sorry to hear that. Oh, that's fine. I wanted to make sure I wasn't playing today before I did any streaming or anything, because we usually start playing around like 4:30 my time. Yeah, we finally got to smooch that vampire. We gotta see what he's all about. You know what the music sometimes reminds me of? It gives me like RimWorld vibes. Especially this title screen. When your groups is going through Curse of Strahd, you got a moth-themed reborn druid. Nice. I have a undead human, or I guess he's a reborn human. Peace cleric, and he's great. I love him. It's Dan Jones time. So, a lot of shit's been happening. I think we're about to find new tribe that we've been looking for, which will have leads on the other previous Roadwarden we've been also looking for. We got a few people to sign off on flying the flag of the Merchant Guild. We saved old Pagos. I think we're gonna go the route of going against White Marshes because, like, I get that they are in a rough situation, but the fact that they're using undead and like they're using other towns on like corpses and stuff like that, it's really fucked up. And they've just been rude to me, so I already don't like them. And I also don't like Howler Still. I also don't like them. They're something fishy's going on. Then we also know they are responsible for organizing people to attack the Steeping Hills, and that's why all of those people died. And there's a bunch of like refugees throughout the villages, so not great. But yeah, I think we're at we're at like midday. Okay. They're desecrating the dead, and even worse, they were mean to me. Well, if they were nice to me, like, I would be a little more understanding, because I understand why they're using the dead. It's still pretty fucked up, but They're not even like open to like accepting different help. So it's like, oh well, okay, of course we're gonna have an issue with you if you refuse to change this fucked up situation. See what paint? Catching up on the Earthbound now. Haven't seen the other VODs. Yeah, I finally uploaded a bunch of VODs. And got a few remaining to upload, but trying to stay on it. That's gonna be my goal for the new year. Stay on top of VODs. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a good one. Just in time for a dance stream. Just in time for comfy reading story time. Did I ever play Dragon Quest? I played Dragon Warrior for the NES. And that's the only Dragon Quest game I've played. I've always wanted to dip into them, just never have. Papa, will you read us a story? Well, have you been good? Steam was in your opening. Yeah. I like the music. Seeing how steep this part of the road gets, you dismount. It'll be safer for you, if you get a bit tired, to push Bumptious up on the verge of fatigue. You take a sip of water and start climbing. The road is winding and narrow, but it would fit a single wagon if it wasn't for the sporadic rocks and boulders blocking the path. Some of the larger ones are resting just in the middle, and as you look above, you struggle to recognize where they came from. Bridge. The strong wind, a wooden bridge connecting the rock ledges, the unusual terrain. You can't pay attention to any of that now. A creature larger than a bear steps away from its nest, then screeches at you through its sharp, black-tipped, golden, eagle-like beak. It spreads its wings as wide as a barn gate. There is a spear on the ground. I would really like to have a spear. Let me just do a quick save. Examine beast. Its movements are deliberate and confident. It makes tiger-like leap and stands still like a statue, while the brown, white, and yellow feathers covering the front half of the shell. Oh, is it a griffin, maybe? The wings hinder your sight, so you spot only glimpses of cat-like claws and clay-like fur. Its large chest rises and falls slowly. The noble griffin's yellow eyes speak only of violence. Its curved beak is longer than your forearm, and the talons of its front paws are like sickles. You don't doubt its cruel promises may not only be fulfilled, but a certainty. A single human, but with a simple blade and a fistful of herbs, would never survive clashing with a monstrosity of this size. You don't have time to mull it over. The beast leaps towards the rock face. After it flaps its wings, the gust of wind brushes your hair. Let's go. Let's just keep on going. But there is a spear there. And I would love to have a spear. The wind's cold sweat and altitude make you want to simultaneously take off your cloak and put on some heavier clothes. At least Bumptious doesn't seem to care. You take deeper breaths. The path ahead seems gentler. There are no more trees. You're surrounded by grass, pebbles, sporadic bushes. You look down at the herbs gathering around the stream. The rustling leaves, birds, large and small, flying above the forest of the peninsula. From here, everything seems so calm. Most people never catch a view. It's not an illusion. The trees hide blood, blade, and claws. Too bad most people won't see this view. A loud screech reaches you from up the path, where the top of the crag you see a massive saurian standing on all four limbs. It's displaying proudly its dark green skin and a bit brighter stomach, and orange stripes on its legs and eyebrows, as well as the tail, which is swinging left and right. The size of the monster makes you stop, but before you turn around you realize there's a short woman sitting on its back, dressed in a red gamson and iron helmet, with green pants that blend in with her mount. You can't see the details of her hair, but she's not attacking you just yet, resting the blunt edge of her spear on the ground. Her other hand holds the reins attached to a bridle put on the monster's head, cramping its wide mouth. She raises her weapon in a greeting and speaks in a language that you've only heard used among the elders raised in distant villages. The old speech is almost forgotten outside the most remote pagan tribes. All I have left as a Sin token is, I can't understand you. She stays still for a few breaths, then uses sound that's clearly not used to saying out loud. You lost? During the following minutes, you both try to get used to each other's speech, though sometimes you can't find any common ground, depending on the combination of the city tongue and gestures. You explain that you're heading to the village at the end of the path. She asks if you have a message for the chief or the shaman. Say it to me. Need to speak with them myself. I'm a local road warden. Even though she doesn't give any clear command out to her mount, it takes a few steps forward, moving without needing to speed up quickly. After a confident leap, the beast lands on a crag right above you, allowing the warrior to look closely at you. Roadwarden, she says in the city tongue. Like Asterion, to city folk. You nod. What are Roadwardens to you? Protect travelers and help settlements stay in touch. Pretty much do everything. Pays me to make the roads safer. Patrol my roads. I want to say friendly. You hear a monstrous roar coming from the mountains. The woman looks around with a raised spear, and when her eyes return to you, her voice is strict. You find no thing for you here. As we seek no travels, no in touch. She pulls the rein and makes the Saurian turn around, then leaps away up the path, staying on top of crags. Something's happening there. She shouts from a distance. Road's not safe. Come, we speak in village. Right through the corridor by the rock faces, led by the jumping Saurian. The woman in helmet blows a large horn, longer and thinner than a ram's, with enough power to cause an avalanche, and once you reach the massive wooden gate blocking the path, it's already open. The few people you've seen are well equipped, wearing heavy jackets, shields, and steel weapons, though some of them seem a bit old. Your surroundings get more spacious, with small garden patches and stone sheds spread on both sides of the path. Riding by the onlookers, you enter a trot, then a walk. The locals pay you as much attention as your mount, commenting on your appearance in the old speech. Unlike the guards, the workers are carrying rather simple tools, many of them made of bones or rocks. Their woolen, undyed outfits are appropriate for hard labor, worn and patched up, but also heavy, protecting their owners from the cold mountain winds. The one thing that differentiates them from one another is their headgear. Every person you see is wearing something on their head, mostly ear-covering kerchiefs, vividly dyed, embroidered patterns of leaves, flowers, and gems. They are sea folk, no doubt about it. They have long limbs, hardly any beards, and the few children you see have uncovered hair, wavy and dense. Yet their paleness is unusual, as if they spend little time outside. Your guide is nowhere in sight, but so far no one's tried to stop you. The people know I can achieve it. She waits you at the cave mouth, where the teeth and tongue are so distinct you doubt they were shaped without any villager's interference. The crisp air carries the scent of late summer meadows. Aside from the discussions of farmers and guards, you hear the roaming wind and the gloating ibexes, but the terraces and crops around you are quiet, making you realize it's the first village you've seen in quite a while where there's no constant noise of humming water or heavy labor. A safe place, but don't be here for long. You hear from your guide in her lacking city tongue, though still much better than your old speech. She's not the only garden site. The spears, slings, and clubs are getting a bit too numerous for your tastes. We need you not. She looks around, but only a few people nod in agreement. Most of them are giving you puzzled looks. What's your gift for the chief and shaman? You realize she's more than 40, and even if she has a small stature, no one seems eager to replace her as a negotiator or question her authority. The accent of those who chat in distance is so dense you can't catch a single word. I need to bring your tribe of Griff so I can see your leaders? She lets out a dishonest laugh. Why would they want to see you? She tried to say something you can't understand, and after a few attempts, she picks up a small rock. Your problems, she keeps in front of her chest, then points at the mountain above you. Our lives. Is there something I could do for you instead? No. She scoffs. Seeing your expression continues with a serious look around. Mountains will kill you. You need years to learn them. Just things of woodlands are not work to us. Don't dare say we need help with city folk. Do any of these interest you? What would you want? With a playful voice, she tries to tell you something complex, even asking her companions to help them translate it. Finally, she gives. This is a rare thing. A good blade. Good drink. Spices. Good blade. Good drink. Spices. Don't I have the cask on me? She doesn't want the cask of ale? Did I sell the cask of ale? Shit, I think I did. I don't remember selling it, but I guess I did sell it. Hmm. Weird. I don't remember selling it. Trying to find Asterion, which gives you a grim look. Our shaman too, but I can't talk about it. Trying to find a few hunters from Village of Creeks. Were they around? Not in years. Important to Radurun of city folk, but not to souls of tribe of Green Mountain. A bunch of children help me get the alchemist ingredient. All right. I guess we travel. Okay, so I need. This had the corpse eater. Let's go to the nest. Maybe they're gone. Bird's still there. Look at this spear. Simple weapon, but not a cheap one. The light shaft makes you think of ash wood. It's neither soggy nor bent. The head is made of iron or steel. There's a bar at the end that's meant to stop the blade from getting too deep in the flesh. You don't have time to mull over the beast sleep storage. Okay. What do we got time wise? 6 hours. I'll see you, Pondus. Have a good sleep. It literally, it's how I woke up today, Saren. It was like, I must play. I need to finish this. Okay, we can do the Empress Carp. That's one we can actually do. Let's head to the creeks. What if the game never ends? I'm in trouble. I need that path. Take this, leave it somewhere on the trail. He wants me to put a sign up to tell people not to go that way. Okay. I know from old Hava your tribe needs your contact with Foggy more than I need a coin. 2 dragons a day isn't enough. $13 coins. Okay. Respect to Foggy. She observes you with the patience of a statue, then sends the one-handed man outside with a nod. After a minute, she brings from the basement a simple package covered with wax, tied together with a couple cords. She removes them in silence. The scent of honey fills the air. She raises a dark cloak. The fucking magic cloak! Green like trees, covered in shadows. The shape of leaves are embroidered in the surface with a silver-like thread. They're the size of your hand, spread sparsely, elegant. Each one's different. It's heavy, mostly like rainproof, but the inner layer is downy, made of lamb's wool. Every scrap of this garment was touched by a master. There's magic in it. Foggy's voice is solemn. Keeps you warm at night, without a fireplace. Make rocks feel like fur. Why'd he sell it to you? He needed dragon bones. Was planning to travel somewhere. Needed coins for a boat. She folds the cloak and packs it again, tying the cords with her thoughts. I told him to look for it in Gale Rocks. You wait for her to go on, but she changes the topic. I wanted to sell it for 50 dragons, but if you're interested, we'll see. I want to ask a fortune from a friend. Where was he headed? I told you everything I know, love. She holds the package with her elbow. Take it from here on your own. $14 for his cloak. Cask of cider, I can buy it back. Definitely want to buy that. Let's buy a cask. Someone must know more. Okay. You found enough clues to believe Asterion has traveled to High Island, northwest of the peninsula, hasn't been seen since. So far, you know almost nothing about this place. Okay. We got a new lead. Let's go to Gale Rocks. Get the fish. There's something else I'm supposed to look for here that I can't remember. Gale Rocks. Okay. Let's go to... Go to the gossip. Yeah, I don't want to get him in trouble. Maybe like Captain like sailor. Navica's the best boat maker in the north. Come, I'll take you to her. Tiny woman keeps her distance from the other workers, partially because of many bits and pieces she needs to constantly at hand, as well as logs, steamed planks, and boat keel only a few steps away from her. She glances at you from afar and turns away, cutting some sort of log without a pause. Heard you make boats. Yep, I make boats. Have reason to believe you know what happened to Asterion. You tell her what you learned, her hands slowly then firmly stop. You've some wrong ideas. I don't know where he is now or if he's alive or dead. All that he needed is a small boat. I sold it to him, took it to the beach, that's all I've seen. And you're saying you don't know where he set off? Yep, that's what I'm saying. What about High Island? She speaks slowly, stepping between words as if they're poison ivy. Not much. It's a deadly place. We are forbidden to travel there. All them old deals between tribes and villages. Who could understand them? It ain't like the fish there are worth the effort. Drop some tea, honey, lemon reminder. Yeah, I'll have a sip now. They only want to barter. I don't have any. Oh! Thank you, Sente. I already took a sip. I'll have another sip. Thank you for the 420 bits. Take this time to relax. Maybe... Is there a weapon maker? We knew the Fletcher. Trying to learn more about High Island. Just ask someone interested in old tales. We forbid our fishers to swim near it, and our neighbors ain't challenging us on this. The volcano there erupts rarely, and merely hit us with the tides. We have nothing to gain from those woods but claws and thorns. Even getting to the land is dangerous. I could still learn more about the wares this village has to offer. Okay. What else? Doesn't super help me. I'm giving him a coin. Copper salters smokers. Salters and smokers, okay. Fulvia isn't just any elder, am I right? You are. She spent most of her young days and even those nights on roads, chiefly on the path through the heart of the woods. She never got wounded, yet with years her eyes gave up. Let's talk later. Smoker? While the fish are being smoked at a fireplace, find a dedicated smokehouse at the edge of the village, close to the saltery. They scout the prices of barrels of fish, the way they're transported, learning the flour and other supplies are worth more to locals than dragon bones. After a few minutes, you exchange goodbyes, trying to memorize the details useful for a city guide. You just a man that's carrying a basket of firewood. I'm working, he growls. Speak with Albus. Last word he shouted is through the open door. Cheers, you're by yourself? Who do you represent? He's not older than 30, matching his name. His skin and hair are white, though a healthy pink hidden in his cheeks, nose, and lips, making him look as if he's blushing. When you vaguely state that you're from Hovland, a curiosity is already satisfied. Alright, good to have you back. What, 5 years? Our price is the same, and so the lumps look like the same. The guild will be satisfied, better keep your head low. Tour takes a couple of minutes, and while your guide seems very confident in describing the salt-making process step by step, he doesn't take into consideration that you may be completely unqualified to have a conversation about the topic. Trying to learn a bit about the price. Gives you a few numbers, how many coins, how much flour, how much iron the locals will take for a single lump. Albus interrupts your thoughts. Questions? You put the salt on the table and glance at the steaming pan. Ask him where they get their trees. He doesn't answer right away, choosing his words carefully. We have supplies, and we trade for them with other villages. Or at least we used to. We cut trees as well. Used to do more so back in the day. We had a lumberjack hamlet far away, so the beast didn't get there. Might be too late to get the fish. Did you catch the carp? Right, a few of them, but most of them females. He approaches the nearby shed and brings you a bucket covered with a lid that's held by hemp cords. He lets you hold it for a bit. It's heavy and weight shifts. It's filled with water. You'll need to deliver it quick. It's going to choke itself to death. Or die of hunger. I don't know about much keeping fish alive. But if it dies, I can sell you another one for 1 coin. I got 10 hours. Have you been to High Island? Why, you a sailor now? He doesn't hide a sneer, but after you say you may need to go there, he reaches for the beak on his neck. So you know about visiting the islands forbidden, not just by the Green Mountain tribe, but because it's dangerous, wicked, wild. So you haven't been there. Right, and I don't plan to. Them harpies sit on every rock on the route in our pier to the island. Take twice as long to sail around them. Rowing there would exhaust anyone, barring the most experienced arms. Okay, to the elder. Make the giant in the... Oh, the statue, maybe? I brought what you asked for. He looks inside the bucket quickly and then gives you a big smile. Now I'm in your debt, traveler. Let me know if you need a healing touch. Closes the bucket again and puts it on the bench. Can you help me wake the giant in the far east? His blue eyes are piercing through your skull and chest. The knowledge you gather helps the causes I find dear to me. That much I saw. Here's what you'll do. Kneel. Okay. Kneel. Kneel in front of the statue and pray with these words. He utters a bunch of nonsense, and seeing your confused look, he lets out a sigh. Even with these words on your tongue, you have no eyes to see through them. Speak with me and learn. He spends a good few minutes teaching you the phrases from old speech until you're able to repeat them without mistakes. Though also no comprehension. Where your tongue is not used to the sound of some of the sounds, the rhythm makes you think of a poem and helps you a lot. You learn nothing more. You need to learn a High Island. Come again? Why would you head for that forsaken land? Explain briefly, you've learned about Asterion. The feet of the living have nothing to find in these ancient woods and ruins. 'Tis but a graveyard of a tribe long driven out, and their memories deserve to be forgotten or shared by their descendants. He remains in the same position for another few breaths, then lowers his shoulders and looks into your eyes. You may be a city spy, stranger, but... He starts, then enters the path leading down the hill and gestures for you to follow him. During his speech, he never glances at your lips and doesn't ask if you have any questions. Centuries ago, a great tribe used to live on High Island, hunting, farming, mining, fishing. Prospering. The volcano, the Green Mountain, is naked since its last eruption a few years back, but wait another generation in the wilderness will cover it again. There's a sudden movement coming from the grasses in your right, but as you look in the direction, you notice it's a deer just observing you. There's nae but a place to paint their suffering, but what is nae's secret is what they've been treated by Haviland. Join us, or the sea will be taken away from you, they've heard. Corsairs had surrounded the island and attacked anyone on sight, waiting for the tribe to surrender. He can't cover the growing disdain in his voice. After a decade, the 10 cities breached the shore, tired of waiting. Cloaked by night, they crossed the walls that were raised to stop beasts, not human-shaped creatures. With farms burnt, supplies taken, and harbors destroyed, the tribe saw no future for itself. Yet instead of bending to the will of the Emperor, they left their last hidden ship. They left on their last hidden ship, at least those who survived. The city folk resettled the island, but had no knowledge of it. Its weird seasons, beasts, and eruptions crushed them, as they had crushed the previous dwellers. There was nay a single soul that would gain from all this suffering. The man observes the bloody remains of a rabbit lying at the side of the road, and after a minute, nods for you to follow him back to his garden. To land there, you have to reach the island soon after dusk, when the sea rises. Only then can you reach the cave hidden behind one of the waterfalls. I do not know which waterfall it is. You better do better by speaking with the tribe of the Green Mountain before you attempt it. 'Tis their land, and you do not ought trespass. Of course. Gathering a crew. According to what you've learned, you can reach High Coast by boat, leaving the coast during the day and landing at nighttime, during the high tide. Chance you're going to find him there is your own, but slim. You need a boat and maybe a few friends or mercs. Interesting. Three hours, 15. Let's go to the Pelt North, see who all I can recruit for this. Approach the guards. Quick save. Want to throw some dice? Hell yeah. You know anything about Highland? She looks at the guards, but men silence. It's just an island. No souls swim there no more. It's too green, too many beasts. Unicorns, I heard. I could use a skillful hunter on my journey. What? Tell me more. You share the gist of your plans as she's spreading an old stew on the ground, her boar's great joy. Put safety above adventure, she finally responds, but there is a way you could convince me. What's your price? 5 dragons and a few minutes in the saddle. Seeing your look, she giggles. What? I was about to ask you for 40 bones, but you're a friend of the inn. I don't know what you're doing. I can look after myself. How much we got right now? 7? She pays a little attention to the few bones you hand her and approaches the beast quickly. Her short posture only emphasizes its enormous size. You clasp her hands and form a step, letting her get in the saddle, preparing her to walk around the yard. In actuality, it's you who's holding the lead, bumptious, disorienting by the rider's unconvinced touch, and her anxious gasp welcomes you having you by its side. I can read. Natasha, hey! How you doing? Ready for cozy times? We're forming a crew to go sailing to a forbidden island. Or something like that. As the hunters gather on the walls observing these events and drawing Dalit's attention by calling her name and jokingly commenting on her transparent fear, their cheer makes you think of the market square. The worried but honest laughter of your companion is like a child's, and for a few moments unbothered by the events of the outside world. Finally, you help the guard down. She's sweating, but her smile is as radiant as always. She spreads her arms. Oh, I want to embrace her. Should I embrace her, Chad? Quick save. Embrace her. Her arms are strong, but smells the water of the local well, but also in mud. Before she steps away, she pats you back a few times. All right, enter the inn. Quintus. The plague is no more. What? Say again? When you repeat, he tilts his head back, puts his hand on his waist, bursting laughter. His voice starts crying, "Tell me all!" His little patients constantly throwing more questions at me about the druid, his plan, your gifts for the magic tree. He's far from happy when he hears about the prolonged seclusion. I guess it's fair. I'll stay here for some time. I don't want to mess up stuff. I'm not as dumb as a bird. Thank you, Warden. Your soul carries duty like no other. Have you heard about High Island? Heard of it? You can see it's a volcano from Old Pagos. The monk said it's a weird place, but it's also a tale for the worthy. You ask, he knows the tale. He glances in the direction of his home. Nah, I need you to return the favor. I'm heading there. He squints his eyes. The bandages almost fall off his face. Pull me back in, eh? Well, as long as it's not just the two of us, I'll prepare my stuff. Just tell me when you're ready. All right? I got two crew members. Tell about High Island. Want to join? You're missing out on a real adventure. Adventures are overrated. She leans away. And from my experience, they give me more scars than meals. I can't do it. Are you really sick of the roads? I don't plan to give you a palace made of dragon bones, you know. Nice acting, but I spoke with Glossia. You're working with her. Ooh. Talia glances at the innkeeper and gestures for you to lower her voice. This is the only pass through Hag Hills. Recently, there's been a caravan with tools and spices that were taken by force to be sold for ransom. Someone told them to turn east, right to the banished trap. You want me to believe you bear no responsibility and sell nothing? It's not so simple. She draws out her words. I wasn't looking for dragon bones or mead. Without Glossia, my squad would never be able to keep the valley passable. On the day of your arrival, she helped us get rid of some griffin that murdered 2 people this summer alone. Was I afraid of her threats? Sure, but she helped me save lives too. I'm gonna be nice to her, because this place does fucking suck. You didn't have a choice. I carry a share of hard decisions on my shoulders as well. Thank you for trying to understand. I've been your camp, it's gone. No longer my problem, she says, then meets your eyes and lets out a sorrowful chuckle. Quite a monster we knocked down, eh? Viros. Need your assistance. We're going to a high island. Shit, another boat. He snorts, rubbing his burnt face. I have no choice, do I? I'll prepare my ballista. But be sure I'm doing nothing else for you. 3. We got 3. All right, we got 3. We got 3. We're just gonna do this because I need to save my coins right now. Another day, muddy roads. Arcflash, thank you for tier 2, 14 months. Thank you. The heck? The heck? Heard anything about High Island? Any leftovers? Yes. All right. So, what do we got here? We got I could ask her for help, but I don't want her to get hurt. I like the mage too much, and I feel bad for her. I'm gonna try anyways. Maybe just for new dialogue. You touch the cold shell, the monster's eyes glow out. Dan, come inside. I could use a break. You see he's sitting on the stool near a cupboard, stares at the large wooden shield in her hands. Heard of High Island? Of course. She says right away, then leans away and glances at your boots, though I didn't pay much attention to the monk's tales. She doesn't share much with you. High Island is the largest island that's somewhat close to the coast, but its huge volcano makes it a worrying sight. It may be covered with green forest and hills, but no tribe aspires to claim it. May want to ask Foggy. She loves tales of weird places. I do need permission. Okay, let's go to the giant. We'll do the prey. I also have the mead that I can give them now. If I can get the spear, I kind of want the spear. Maybe I can give them my axe. Kneel. You rest your knees on the ground to show your respect and humility. Your fellowship wouldn't be happy about this. Yeah, well, I got shit to do, okay? You say a few words and your thoughts are unusually keen and focused, as if you entered a new stage of the ritual. You utter a complete short prayer, but nothing happens. You suddenly hesitate. This is not something Right's followers are supposed to do. I won't sabotage my journey. I repeat the phrases of the old speech I was taught. You place a blanket beneath your knees. You bow down and stretch out your arms, reciting the strange sounds you memorize, which sound to you like dragons hiss. Bumptious grazes on the grass, and I graze on some jelly beans. Tiny stars, white, blue, orange, and yellow, emerge from the dark cloak, one after another. Oh, look at that. Some of them grow in size and intensity, while many more stay dim. After a few moments, they move no more, and you get used to the hollow darkness remaining in them. I don't need to memorize them, I'll just write them down. Is that Griffin still there? Damn it. You try to explain what the cast contents are, but since the word cider means nothing to the locals, you call it sweet apple beer, pointing at the tree behind you. Few of the locals are greatly interested in taking a whiff, but you explain that it's not possible since it may spoil soon. After a short debate, the Saurian rider admits that we drink water and milk, not beers. 'Tis a gift. 'Tis gift is fine. Very well, take it. She gives you a few minutes to pack up your belongings. Let your beast stay on the grass. She pats its side. It's safe here. After you tether Bumptious to a tree, keeping it away from most of the garden patches, you head to the cave mouth. The corridor goes down, getting darker after only a few steps. But seeing how often the locals go through it, without any source of light, you doubt there's going to be many treacherous steps ahead of you. Still, your guide leaves the shed with a lantern made of old brass, with windows engraved with winged dragons circling around an erupting volcano. I use my crude lantern. The tongue sticking out of the entrance doesn't go on for long. For some time, you descend gently, then encounter a set of spiral stairs. Once you reach the bottom, you find yourself in a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, some of them sunk in darkness, others lit by campfires, with smoke leaving through the holes in ceilings. Spread among them are dozens of children and elders, but also workbenches and other spots worked by adults, some of them too busy to even spare you a look. There are woodworkers, water carriers, potters, flour millers, cooks. You hardly notice how stuffy the air is down here. Seeing the consistently spacious corridors, conveniently wide enough for even an obese shell to squeeze through them, you can't tell how many, if any, of these passages were not made by human hands. The entire walk takes you a few minutes, but the sheer amount of rooms you walk by makes you lose your way many more times before you reach a short path leading to a bright, warm chamber, to which the Saurian rider invites you with a gesture. Jester. You smell smoke and humidity. As you listen, the humming of a stream reaches you from below. Much louder are the cries of an infant, amplified by an echo. The simple huts are short enough for you to see their hide-covered roofs. From above, and as you look at the ceiling, there's no water dripping on them. They don't offer much privacy either, even if the entrances were covered with a curtain. The gaps between the bones let you peek inside. It's as if one day they collapsed here from the surface, losing their purpose, but remaining as a relic of the old way of living. While the huts are only filled with furs and a few pieces of clothing, the chamber is far from empty. A few women, some of them very young, some in their 30s or 40s, are sitting around the campfire feeding infants while playing with toddlers. There's a man stretching a piece of leather on a tanning rack, and you hear splashes of water coming from a corner. When your eyes land on two people sitting in a circle of wooden stumps, their gaze makes your destination clear. They're sitting a few steps away from one another, and as you're invited to sit down, the three of you form a triangle. The air is heavy, but you smell no sweat or dirt, and aside from the crying child and echoes of distant play, the dancing lights and cracking wood are no less cozy than an inn. The man in his 50s is leaning forward, resting his elbows on his thighs, more like a tired guard than a distinguished ruler. He's dressed just as heavily as the people you saw on the surface, but the fabric of his clothes is so dark blue it's almost black. He's barefoot, and if you wonder if it's enough for him to not sweat under layers of wool. His helmet, shield, and sword are resting on the ground. His long gray hair freely surrounds his face, which is covered with wrinkles and scars. Some beast was lucky enough to leave a mark deeper than that. The man's nose is missing, leaving a disfigured hole. The woman could be 25, and has absent eyes and are roving over your outfit, equipment, face, and hands. She's dressed more humbly than the man. Her tunic and pants are undyed, and shorts enough to reveal her calves and forearms. Calves? Why do I always say calves as I read it? She has unevenly cut short black hair and a yellow kerchief that's hanging from her neck, lazily thrown over her back. Her legs are stretched out in front of her, resting on the heels of her sandals and swaying left to right. Spread just above an unfolded sack, covered with gemstones, pebbles, and animal bones. She keeps her hands on the nearest trunk, desperate for something to support her back. Both of them are unusually pale, but the woman looks almost sick. "You heard at you, not from our tongue." "We heard that you not know of our tongue," starts the elder with a firm look. "I've talked with city folk more than I wanted, and our shaman," he looks at the young person in the light outfit, "I taught her what I knew, but knows very little of the way you sound. Let her practice." She frowns and waves her hand in front of her nose as if there's a fly there. "Hello." Her voice is both delicate and annoyed. "Shaman Gayan." "Gayan?" She struggles to utter. The man stares at you, speaking more confidently, with a greater familiarity of the sounds he uses. "I am Cephas, the chief of the tribe of the Green Mountain. Your gift bought you our time, but we've busy lives." See, I feel like I should say this to give them like a heads up, but I also mainly just want their permission to go to the island. I want to be sure you don't need my help. Cephas' voice grows colder. "Do we look like we need one's help? Do you see cracks in our walls that can't be sued without your blood, or monsters who can sing to sleep?" Kayan reaches for 2 green gems and puts them on the edge of the fabric side by side. "Don't get angry." Her voice is close to a whisper and seems to ease the ire of the chief's gaze right away. But when she looks at you, she keeps her hands in front of her, palms up. "Does your soul speak pride or of care? Can't see it. But we're good as is, and ask you to trust our mouths to ask for us if we need to." Trying to find Asterion. He was here a few times. With every word, Cephas' voice gets quieter as if he's not sure how to continue. We helped him. We helped him, for he gave us a grand promise and a sign of his trustworthiness. Brought back soul thought to be lost in the woods, but it's almost been a season since we saw him. That saurian outside, it used to belong to him, am I right? That's correct. Cephas' approving eyes contrast the threatening look of his nose, and his voice is warm. Where he was headed, there's no place for a beast. It don't swim well, so he asked us to look after it. Also, he was afraid of the unicorns. After you mentioned you doubt having fewer teeth would help someone deal with such a monster, Diane chuckles, then bites her lower lip, showing an unusually long canine. You like to cut the skin off the spirit of havoc. City folk think unicorns are but a battering ram. Yet are soul carriers led by judge and done anger. They eat grass and shoots, not flesh. And when not with calves, listen to the kind tales and prayers. Man, it's hard to read this. The chief nods. It was wise of him to not take with him a bloodthirsty saurian. It won't learn when to bow, for it trusts only its muscles and fear. Pagos was attacked by a plague. Terrible, we can do nothing. Souls and tribes come and go, but the woods abide. For 10 years now, we have left lowlanders to keep themselves. Can we talk about High Island? We can, but no soul of our tribe has been in there in generations. Even the gentle frown changes the chief's scarred face greatly. We won't return there where the cities remain a threat. Would it matter to you if I were to land there? The chief answers slowly. We'll cut any limb so much touches our homeland. Why don't you want anyone to go there? What good could it bring us? The chief leans back as if there's nothing to talk about. After a few breaths, the shaman chips in. We'll enter the island like a traveler returning to her bed. Eyes of the fit city folk are not our homeland, but their failed search for iron. Eyes of the other tribes see our lost treasure not as a soul, sky, or rains, but as belongings to grab and sell. In case you need to pick me up, the most popular video in the VOD channel is the first name Jones of Dragons, and the most popular comment is congratulating me on being a good DM. Aw, thanks. They're beastkin or dragonkin. I think they're kind of beastkin because they wear like animal masks. At least the rest of the people. Or we've been told they wear animal masks, but the fact that she has larger canines is like maybe there's some kind of like beast-like quality to them. Is the island dangerous? It's as dangerous as the wildest wood and hills. Its roads are no more, and spiders and ape men now live in our houses. The city folk who tried to take our lands may still be there, walking shells without souls after so much time. They likely went on blood to the mainland. What's the story of it? Gayan smiles and starts to speak in old speech as if she's repeating the same tale for the 100th time, then chuckles. Once she shifts to city tongue, she struggles at some points, but Cephas provides her with words and phrases or fills the gaps. The Green Mountain, the life-giving volcano in the center of the island, has been home to the tribe for longer than anyone can remember. As we're older than any of the 10 cities. Though you doubt there are any ways to verify such a claim, the shaman spends a good few minutes describing the days her ancestors. Through hardship, they managed to tame enough land to grow vegetables, to make a great chunk of their island their forest garden. After finding the iron and copper veins, they had enough tools and weapons to save their offspring from back-breaking labor. She's also eager to describe the deeds of many families and heroes, and the unique herb with their beautiful names, but the chief asked her to move on. For most of his existence, Haviland avoided the island, finding hardships in getting close to it, since the pagans were reluctant to accept dragon bones. The merchants saw little value in their wares. However, once the tribe of the peninsula noticed the growing supply of alloys used by the island folk and their fishers, the news reached the city. A little more than 200 years ago, the officials tried to negotiate a new trade deal with the locals, but to no avail. Finally, they allowed the corsairs to start their usual efforts, putting to use the growing height of their ships. At first, they harassed the fishers, then landed on the island itself. The tribe was ready to fight for what was theirs, but the cruelty they faced outmatched them. The kidnappings made the locals afraid to leave the walls, and the raids enslaved whole hamlets or burned many crucial structures. Using traps and their knowledge of the terrain, the tribe managed to kill more than they lost, but the Corsair ships kept coming, always led by new, yet even more experienced captains. After a few bloody battles, the forest fires started, and the locals understood they had little time before the wrath of the herds would trample them to death. We are the 8th generation of the tribe living here, so close to the coast, yet so far from it. She ends her tale. Taming new grounds was harsh, and finding the first children born into tunnels started breathing. Only fit of the tribe was still welcome here. Why won't you try to reclaim it? The root of our torment survived the plague, invasion, and disasters, now known only to oldest tales. Diane grabs a few small bones from the fabric beneath her and starts to roll them between the palms of her hands. We have no strength to fight it, no hope to defeat it, but we can wait in humbleness and hope the spirits will turn their face away once our enemies come to them for help. Cephas rests a hand on his side. Returning would anger the herds and cost us dearly. Yet after 1-2 generations, once our walls and children grow strong, the Corsairs will once again bring torches and chains, for our right allows them to murder freely. Leading our tribe to their homeland is a dream of every chief and every shaman, but is a dream of the prideful. What kind of person is Asterion? A shell lost on its path to nowhere. Gain stares in your eyes, a soul torn by its dreams, a word spoken to no one. The chief frowns but doesn't add anything. I'd like to learn about your village. The shaman leans forward, smiling. The fire plays in the shadow. And how? In your tongue? Without crossing our tunnels or plowing our fields or battling snowcats or making a cup bowl with our elders? She gestures for you to take a glance at the huts, the spears, the rocks beneath them. We have our own seasons, trades, and legends. Spirits guide us through rough dreams. The Under's children learn the stories of 10 emperors. Older 10 emperors. As she grows more passionate with every word, the chief observes her with a smile. He reaches for his sword, observing the dark scabbard covered with a fancy fabric of squares. If we were a tribe of the 10 cities, you'd like to hear we dig for our ore, grow crops, hunt. We lack some things. We have others in abundance, but we accept what we get, and we won't open our gates to no merchants or blood we can't trust. What do you think of Hovland? We don't. The city's corsairs pillaged our homeland for years, saying they would stop once we agreed to pay them yearly tribute. They murdered us and torched our homes and crops. We helped the island before them and prayed to different spirits. You return to the pouch and ask what the meaning is behind it. The shamans of the old made a tomb with 1 rock for every lost soul to 10 cities. They brought them here to help us remember. Who's the decision maker, the chief or the shaman? The village decides for the village. Cephas smiles. In the tribe, a chief worries about the things of today, and a shaman about the things of the past and tomorrow. Carrion looks at him with respect. For there are harvests of this season, she says solemnly, but taste like ashes without memories and hopes. She points to the bones and pebbles beneath her, as if they're meant to explain it all. A quiet tune plays from the opposite end of the chamber in an attempt to calm the crying child. We are of it, not on it. Cephalus glances to the flames. The Green Mountain is on High Island. Diane's voice becomes melodic, even though she pauses when she says every few words out loud. The volcano in the very center. Around it, our fields were growing like they would no other soil of the north. The north. Every few lifespans, lava turns to ashes. The woods at it feeds. But these ashes give birth to the sweetest fruits and heaviest grain. The roads are dangerous. Do you have any useful equipment? Why do you have something we may want? We don't have dragon bones, don't trade, and we have what we need here. We have, the shaman chips in. You mean horns, he says, then looks at you again. We could barter for it. Our guards and squirts use horns for many beasts, but there's one type of horn we don't use anymore. The war horn. Roars like a dragon. That's right. Most beasts flee when they hear it, but can't show you how it sounds here. We go deaf. Can I see it? Dragon horn. What can I barter? Thinking of things. I have got nothing to barter with. Have I played any other tabletop RPG systems? Very familiar with Fantasy Grounds or Savage Worlds. In there's like Deadlands. The Savage Worlds itself is kind of like you can play whatever genre you want. I've played D&D since 3rd edition. Pathfinder. I've played Fate a few times. I don't really like Fate. I've played a few like random tabletop RPGs. Like I played a little bit of the Star Wars one. I played a little bit of a Ghostbusters one. That's about it. Hmm. 3.5 hours. Thought it would let me fight. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to a small cave. I'm gonna kill the corpse eater and then sleep in the cave. Why can't I attack? Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna quick save. Can I do anything with the small cave? Why won't it let me go in the small cave? Huh. Weird. Because there's a corpse eater in there, but like I want to at least fight it. Because I didn't get to look in the cave at all. Alright, whatever. All the directions to the spot where the dead man was found. You head behind the shallow pond, the far east, and find a small ravine of sorts through the road. So instead of water, it hides torn clothes, broken tools, and remains of a camp. There are no bones around. Whoever had found their end at this place surely turned into undead years or decades ago. There's a broken rope hanging from a tree stump. The other part of the plant is already at the bottom of the ravine. Closer look. It won't take long, you say, knowing both it doesn't understand you. You tie your rope to the stone instead of any of the plants. You take what's necessary and descend, leading your boots against the rock face. Approach the possessions. A pickaxe surrounded by dozens of cracks. Some smaller rocks have already crumbled up. Grab it. What day are we at? 34. I have 6 days. Fuck. Oh no. Gives way more easily thanks to the rust than your muscles. You throw it away using your hands to deploy the shards of the wall. Gasp once you realize patina on the surface. You kneel down and take a better look at the rocks. At least half of them bear a touch of green copper, like a statue in an old temple. You come to your senses, pushing away the images of fortune and future idleness. A large group would have set up hamlet here to even inspect the vein with workers. All noses of the locals squabbles over ore can turn violent pretty fast. Try to forge. I want to ask these guys. First, I'm looking for a few souls willing to explore High Island. Stupid or what? Malin burst into laughter. There are easy ways to seek death, and dragons ain't worth that shit. Sisvi, however, gives you a long look. Why? You mentioned briefly your search for Asterion. Sounds like a waste of effort. He adjusts his cloak, but I'll do it for fair pay. I'm good with knives, sneaking by, making small things out of wood. The tall forger straightens up and looks at his companion in the eyes, demanding explanation, but the man in black fur waves it off. I'm bored of the inn. I hate spending another winter in the creeks. His voice carries a hint of an apology. We need no dragons here, but I'd take them south, behind hags. The distance between them grows with every breath. You did well during our hunt, so I assume you know what you're doing. 10 dragons. I won't work for less ever. I'm good at sneaking, even better at stabbing, and I move well. Climb, crawl. I'll let you know. She leans forward with a voice that seems incapable of whisper. You don't plan to swim there, do you? You won't get there without a boat, and with a boat, it's still a dice roll. There's always a drunk or two in rocks or hollers who say they've been there, but it's all rubbish. They hardly touch the island's wall. You try to pressure her a bit, but doesn't learn much. She claims that it's high above the sea, on top of a wall-like steep cliff, and her rope may not find enough for one to get on top. From time to time, a pillar of smoke flies out of the volcano in the center of the island. The whole place is green, with animals and grazed dragons. Could it store treasures, like the folks say? Maybe. But no soul knows where to look for them. For all I know, some child started a tale and played with everyone's desperate dreams. Maybe there's someone you know? You're putting your fingers into the wrong stew. Ask Navica from Gale Rocks. Creeks. I did not realize I only have 6 days. Oh, now I'm stressed. Look for Ila. No, Ephron. What do you know of the creatures that live on High Island? How could I, friend? I haven't been there. Once you're done with the unpacking, 3 armed men show up behind you. Their gamsons are tightly fastened on ice cream. She wants to see you, says the man with the braided beard. He's holding a large stone mace, and you'll come now. You mean Thias? Leave your weapon here. He nods toward Bumptious. Move. You're surrounded by curious glances and worried whispers. Thias is in her usual spot, holding a mug with both hands. She doesn't have a thing to say. The dining neighbors get to their feet and leave the square without bothering their plates. Eric enters the building. Akakios heads towards the tiny island. Excluding the guards who watch every step, you two are alone. She waves her hand for you to get pushed onto a stool, almost hitting the ground. Forgive all these precautions, she says, with a thick local accent, observing you with piercing green eyes. But I'm not sure who you are. Nay an ally, nay a threat. Her pale fingers are tapping on the wood. People at Pagos called for help, and I answered. May they keep their scrap of the land safer, for the sake of all of us. Your view of the peninsula is off. You can help us yet stay on our side. When some of us gain, others lose. You took away our treasure, and now one of us will die because of it. A sick elder, a weak child, a hunter who can't be healed with a spell. Her eyes narrow, keep piercing through your skull. Would you push one of us from the cliff to save another village? How about killing me? How many lives am I worth? Murdering someone will not be the same. Your own voice may say so, but to those who have hurt, the result is the same. Not only do you claim to have the right to make such calls, you make them from your weakness and conviction. When she realizes that her fingernails are scratching the wood, she hides her hand under the table. So this is it. You took our treasure, thinking 'twas not a big deal? I and others. You'll have to pay for it. You're not to be trusted. I'm not petty, Dan. You can still enjoy your stay at our lovely village. We can still use your services. You may be a stranger, but at least you carry dragon bones. The guards push you away, and the other people read it as a sign. They get back to their task and meals, avoiding you with their eyes. Fuck this lady. Creaks. Deal. Wait, broken knife. You found it in the cave inhabited by the corpse eater. Oh, I found something there? Shit, I didn't even know. A ring? No. Approach the old sailor. He doesn't notice your approach until you sit down opposite of him. Who fell here on my very own plate? You're the kid of, Nah, I've never seen you before. Come to buy me a strong mug? Me an ale? Sure, I'll pay the innkeeper to serve you. A kind traveler. Hard to find such souls in the wartime, since the wartime. Used to be a sign of decency to help each other, both on the land and at sea. Can you tell me anything about High Island? He wipes his drooling mouth. Do you know? Just nay allowed to land. They're a dangerous place. Just a hurtful memory. Just tell me what you want. Tilts his head. You sound angry, traveler. Angry and fidgety. No one in the north can give me straight answers. I'm over it. Forgive me. Since I left whom I've expected, everyone wants coins, food, or labor. Coming to forget your path? All's just around the corner. There's still time to look for a place for yourself. You have any trade in hand? know how to read. I'm not a monk or anything, but I've read a few codices. Codex? Codices? I don't know. Won't be easy to find something in the north. Maybe spend some time safe in the city. You could help a merchant with numbers and notes. Learn, then ride away with the first spring caravan. You avoid stealing and cheating. You'll earn a Gale's trust, maybe a silent job. It's not that simple. It never is, Trust someone who's spent more nights on the ship planks than they have on furs. Don't hold on to choices that make your soul rot. If you have the freedom to change your path, seek courage to admit you made a wrong choice. So, High Island, you want to land on it? You confirm, giving him time to catch a deep breath. And start with this. Reach the island after dusk, from the east. You'll nay miss it. The volcano has smoking for decades now, and it may say it hides treasures of the old tribes. The island walls are so tall you can nay climb them. With the night's high tide, you reach an old port, hidden behind a waterfall. Do all this, or just pay for a ship in the city. They're tall as fortresses. That's what you need. Have you ever landed on the island? I could never recall much. We were desperate, hungry, and hurt. Did what we could to survive. That night was a nightmare. I only ever woke up. Quick save. I need to decide what to do, what I've learned about Steep House. Let's go to Timo first. Tell her about Palos. See you soon. Okay, yeah, I set up a match now to deal with the murder of an innocent village. You're standing in the middle of the islet, taking a good look at the village. The locals follow their daily routines. Children are playing tag. The trees are turning golden brown. You listen to the humming creek and singing old woman. Yet you can see what's beneath all that. A home to raiders who led dozens of humans to their death. If you decide to act, you'll only have one shot at this. Starting a storm without the firm support of the locals will paint you as a threat. If Thias was able to keep her power despite her deeds, she surely has strong support, and she may not yield even if you openly confronted. Weaken the mayor's position, the druids may help. Let's hope she listens to reason. After some time, the two of you are wandering the forest garden. The thumping of the druidess staff as she walks disappears in the overwhelming noise. A few hunters and other druids are on the verge of sight, looking out for beasts. She finally breaks the silence. Why do you want to speak of Steep House? Before you left the village, the suspicious look of the guards convinced you the mayor already knows about your stroll. Thias is ambitious and cruel. I won't allow her to hurt other tribes. Thias is unpredictable and manipulative. It's time for the druids to restore order. Halversdale doesn't need to grow anymore. You must stop Thias. She will never be full. I won't allow her to hurt other tribes. She may be much worse than that. Our neighbors see her as a sow, protective of her boilets. She reaches for a rotten apple. The branch on which it hangs suddenly falls on the ground. We do not choose our leaders through violence or intrigues, but through the votes of all. I may have my doubts, but I never trusted to seek control, only to give advice. Keep following the many beaten trails. The bright, sparse woods are nothing like those you've seen in the other parts of the peninsula. I'm listening. You must admit what happened in the village was terrible. I must. I know the druids played a role. The village fields are cursed. As the gathering, we did not agree to the raid, but we agreed to protect our children, siblings, and cousins during the strike. With Numa and advice. After we breached the wall, Thias forced us to keep pushing. Some elders were hurt, others caved in. Her voice cracks. Now you have an opportunity to fix your mistakes. Nay at all. The dead will ne'er return. Our homes are but a bird's nest. We ought to stay in shame. It'd be of use. Redemption will never come. But we have to climb higher. Whatever the reasons behind the attack, it was fueled by rage. I saw the tree painted with blood inside the buildings. It reeks of hatred. There was no good cause for any of it, she states matter of fact. But at the time, my neighbors felt otherwise. Threatened, desperate, betrayed, and cornered. They lost their hamlet, merchants, and the pact. I can nae justify what they done, but they're nae monsters. That's all I have to say. You know I'm trustworthy. I wouldn't try to sabotage your neighbors. She stops in place and turns towards you, grasping her staff. Her eyes are ice cold, but not angry, mostly puzzled. You think of adding something, then carry on. Do you really believe she can stay? That she won't cause further harm? She stops and observes the carcass of a hedgehog. Judging by the tracks, it was butchered by a badger. You say it as if you have nae added fuel to her plans. Ever since you revealed the truth about the hamlet, my neighbors trust that she's leading them towards greater days. My judgment even means even less now. We already talked about her. You know how impulsive she gets. There must be something else. Someone else who can lead the tribe. Yet she's trusted with all her wits and talents. The Thais you met is shaped by many sorrows, but her laughter has nae always been as dead as it is 'tis now. Many of us owe her our lives, and since our gathering promised to nae interfere with the choices of our neighbors, we took a step back even when we realized her determination hides cruelty and stubbornness. Nae soul dares to oppose her now. Your inaction helped her plans bloom. It's time to do something about the responsibility that you carry. Nae one of us is free of guilt. There's nae one who ought be leader. Only those who are trusted, either more or less. If we were to follow your word, we would replace one tyrant with another. Aren't you worried about your future of your gathering? You grow in comfort from what I see and you're detached from the teachings you share with me, or the ones I heard from Roadwarden. We pay close attention to the teachings of our ancestors, and are nae proud to see the seasons are all the same as they used to be. The animals come and go, some pacts were broken, and new tribes moved in. Our village is bound to change as well. It would be blind to think our teachings will never have to grow. She stops and looks back in the direction of howlers. Though you see only tree trunks and shrubs. 'Tis true that these changes occur too fast for my heart. What's your decision? You approach a giant oak, older than any other tree in the garden. It's surrounded by trails of shoes and paws. It is oddly quiet, even though there are dozens of birds in its crown spread amongst the branches like faithful on temple pews. Elpis reaches for the long claw marks left on the bark. She touches them with the palm of a hand gently, then scratches them with fingernails, adding a few more cuts, fresh and dipping with sap. The birds, still without much of a call, take off loudly, maybe 100 of them at once, and in such a panic that a few of them crash into branches or one another. Before you can take a closer look, your companion moves her staff in front of you, then nods for you to follow her away from here. You glance at the claw marks. Once more, worms are already rushing towards them. After another minute of the stroll, the woman speaks again. I can nae help you. It may be better for you to stay away from Howler's Dell from this day on. Thas will nae be con to our enemies. I ask you to reconsider. I can nae sacrifice the future of my village for your games. You're but a stranger. Yeah, okay. Well, it will enjoy murdering innocent people. You fucking idiot. Soon after you enter the gates, you're welcomed by 5 guards led by the mayor herself. You have something to tell me, Forest Speaker? She asks your companion and spares you a little more than a disdainful chuckle. You're led to the apple ale and placed on a chair with a muscular hand keeping you in place. Oh god, Elpis hides nothing. Not even her unwillingness to listen to your accusations. You follow the guards' faces no matter what they hear. They obediently observe their boss, putting their trust in their decisions. Finally, the first kick reaches your stomach. You can't even tell which word or gesture led to it, but it's soon followed by a hit to the jaw. Go, Thias tells the druidess, who leaves without a word. Say nothing. The beating is short but effective. The blood from your mouth covers your clothes, your ribs ache at every move. You're still a Roadwarden, so I guess we ought to let you be. The mayor's voice is bored and carries no hint of the city folk accent. Now get out, and do nay return unless you're going to handsomely support our artisans. You place careful steps through the square, surrounded by whispers and worried looks. Your mount welcomes you with a heavy snort, but it looks at you. To you, it sounds like mockery. Tasting iron, you wash your mouth. I think the last smirk formed from Thias's wine-colored lips. I won. Head to the gate. Fuck. All right. Oh, like, I'm trying to stick with my decisions as much as I can, but it's like, oh, it hurts. Syrian was sailed to Highland. Do you know anything about it? He left like that without a word to that death trap? You say island from here. It's just not easy to get there, even on boat. When you mentioned you'd appreciate any tip you could help to survive there, she moves her lips left and right, humming. I've seen name myself, but I heard when the winters are at their darkest, the water here from there is all frozen, and even a big beast can get there on their paws. Creatures there are too different from the ones you have here. The more you learn about them, the more prepared you'll be. I do hope you'll bring him back. If I saw your boat, if I was ever in need of borrowing one, would you care? Of course I would care. It's my boat. Kind of. Wait. Yeah, 'tis my boat. It's just cheap. Though, I do you a favor. We may figure something out. I could use your help on the island. You think he may still be alive, truly? You helped me out already, so it's only fair. You want me to join you? If you need a boat, you can use mine. We got another one. Okay. Now... Well, I think I was told to leave from the east from Gale Rocks, right? Places. High Island. Proper range weapon or a shooting expert. We do have the ballista guy. We have the ballista guy. Okay. Okay. Five days. Gale Rocks. You've been to High Island. She looks at you with a mixture of shock and hatred. What do you want me to do about it? Make others turn against me, Roadwarden? My village will stand by my side. I'm not trying to use this against you. I just seek information. You don't have to tell me anything. You serious? A few city folk paid me to take them there, just as the war started. It was more than half my age ago, right? I thought coins would save us from barbarians. Stupid. I landed on the edge of the island and waited for them till dawn. They were meant to look for something at the bottom of the volcano, I guess? They didn't come back, so I came back alone. Dawn, you repeat? Yep. Can't get to the high island in sunlight, so the tides are too low. You know about the cave, behind the closer waterfall? She doesn't wait for your answer, growling as she tries to recollect her memories. I ain't seen what's inside, did my best to stay quiet. So I need a boat to get me there, and I need to do it during nighttime. Yep, you could just, like, not do that, stay on the island. What's your price? 44 coins? How about I rent it? Yeah, I'm glad we got a free boat. You move to the corridor, heading towards the light. The skeletons are awaiting you as they take proper stance, filling the chambers with thuds of their feet. With or without flesh, your target blocks and dodges, making you fight as if you're facing a human, not a bloodthirsty beast. You struggle to land any hit, with the weight of your axe hardly compensating for all the parrying, darkness and rattling. Your brave swings shift to defensive stance when the powerful blow reaches your back, dangerously close to the spine. It is then followed by a strike to your cheek. You try to lead your enemy to a different spot. Finally, you end up surrounded and crushed with detached bones, grasping for air and hurting. The corridors fall silent. One hit landed on your arm, causing it to bleed slightly. I'll decide what to do with the corpses after I leave. Okay. Go as deep as I can. Follow the long tunnel north. Enter the dark chamber. The chamber is in shambles. You recognize its unusual furniture. The sharpened stakes, shield-like tables for crossbow users, empty spear racks. If necessary, it could be the last line of defense for guards or diggers, surrounded by any beast or bandit. You're in front of a massive double-leaf gate, taller than two humans made of bronze. Search the room. Take a look at the gate. It's made of sheets made by thick bars. The pictures impressed on the surface portray fishers and their catch. Sea monsters covered with nets, falling harpies, working diggers. While it's doubtful it's made of any material worthy of turning into blades, it's priceless. You look through the keyhole, observing the continuing path and clear sky with ease, despite the cobwebs. You take a deep breath of fresh air, then put 4 fingers inside. Open it with the huge key. Turn in the tunnel. Go back to Bumptious. Right time to take care of the corpses. Just don't have time to follow tradition. Oof. Okay, I wanted to talk to the village head woman. Put the gate key on her desk. The undead from your tunnel are gone. She drags the key over her desk. It looks comically large in her tiny hand. And would you look at that? You face this threat for no good reason. I already told you I wasn't planning to work on the tunnel. But I ain't gonna deny it opens some opportunities. My neighbors are gonna appreciate your selfless efforts. Tries to push the key into a nearby bag, and is suddenly interrupted by the voice of a perfumed guard. Used to be the head of the garrison that kept the tunnel safe. Until it was left itself 10 years ago, against my advice. I don't care if you're a roadwarden or adventurer or a drifter, you deserve a reward. Our head woman ain't willing to reward your contribution. He reaches for the belt that holds the sickle sword. Tells him to hold it. Don't get so dramatic here. She tosses a small pouch and lands on the edge of the desk. 10 should be enough, considering you weren't asked to move a finger. The cat and talk to Iono, our digger. She'll have some grand plans coming soon. The tunnel in the south is open. The undead are gone. Really like that? You cleared them awoken all on your own? Better tell our head woman about it. She shuffles the wooden blocks and moves them in a single row. And if the tunnel is somewhat safe, could you take a closer look at it? Inspect the chambers? Report to me and ask if any of my neighbors give you easier time. Okay. I miss something here. You flinch as the light touches a resting bone, but nothing tries to jump at you. You hear no shuffling feet. You step forward and take a close look at the remains of a massive creature. It used to be 2 times as long as your palfrey, 3 if you were to count its hind limbs. It resembles a bear, but has no skull, no sharp teeth. Take a closer look. While impressive, they're too awkward and whole to be turned into tools. Leave the chamber. Leave the chamber. Look around. Move forward. Head to the stream. Deeper. Dining chamber. Armory. Tiny room. Leave. Leave. Stalactites. I'm just gonna do this in quick load to see if I missed anything here. I could still look. Okay. Okay. Look around. Turn right. Search the room. Climb up the stairs. Take a closer look. Go deep in the tunnel as I can. Try the key I found in the dining room. A bit of wiggling, the padlock gives in. The door lets out a quiet sigh and you enter a humble cave that's been turned into a storeroom. Search. They're all worthless. You move a few of them close to the... If necessary, you'll know where to find them. Outside. Crossrooms. Cave in. Crossroads. Select things. Explore the entire tunnel. Okay. Travel. Kale rocks. Cook like a meal for free. Step away. Travel. How much time do I have? 9 hours. I want to go to the bandits and tell them to attack the White Marshes. Is this the same goblin that I let take the deer? Hell, I nod back to the deer. How's the weather? It's not too windy, but it is rainy. It was windy last night. Colossia making enough noise of her own ignores the rattling of the coins. I now have to plan my next steps. Maybe I'll have something for you in autumn. I have big plans for it. You were there when Steep House fallen, weren't you? I saw it all right. The Isis threats, the torch, the bows over people, the druids in clean robes and curses on their tongues. I helped the others add logs to the broken wall, but when the herds got through in the breach, all I could do was run. Why were the people of Howlers willing to do this? They would say we were asking for it. I spent not even 15 years in Steep House, but I saw my share of quarrels between the two villages. Did you know they were both the same tribe? It's true. Howlers started a fishing hamlet in the stream bank and sprouted a new village. A few generations Steep House grew strong enough to prosper without Howlers' help and decided to cut ties. We pretty much paid taxes, you see, got little in return. Chiefly since we were placed closer to the hill pass, and many traders turned around soon after they entered our gates. My neighbors had riches, all right, good food, pretty homes, but respected their land, woods, and stream. The only greed we faced was that brought us with violence. Our furious looks away. Is Hallersdale next? Have you heard anything about High Island? Should go. I found an achievement. The zit roar gets louder as you ride forward. It is quickly followed by the obnoxious screeching of runners. You notice the sound of breaking branches, powerful paws trampling through the soil, shouts of anger and fear. I follow the sounds. The tall trees cover you with shadows. You're forced to get on your boots and move beneath a few fallen boughs. Soon you reach a few shrubs at the edge of the fighting ground. Tether your mount nearby. You count 6 birds spread among the dry glade. They're as tall as your palfrey with pointy curved beaks and tiny wings. Their feathers are green, blue, and white. The saurian, surrounded by the predators, looks like it could break their necks with just a breath. It matches your height, but it's wide as it is tall, as long as a house, even without its long tail. It's covered with firm plates, aligned in horizontal rows down its entire shell, and its head resembles a horned helmet. On its sides are 2 rows of irregular spikes, each of them longer than your forearm. The creature swings its tail left and right. Surely some bird beaks won't get through the dragon scutes. Shoots. By the monster's side, you notice its descendant, gurgling in fear, too small and weak to protect itself. The runners don't have to rely on their muscles. They're fast, nimble, keep their distance. The constant shouts or disorienting movements force their victim to walk in place, swinging the tree like tree-breaking weapon to no avail. The predators make a mistake, the dragon will crush one of them, scaring the flock away. Otherwise, the saurian will break the neck of its child with a single wrong step. One of the birds spots you, and shock starts to flap its wings and shrug. Try to scare away the birds. With an axe in hand, you jump in one of the shrubs, shouting the nearest runners. In return, they bow to you, raising their voices, then straighten up, shaking their colorful heads. Despite this, they step back, not sure what's happening. You swing your weapon, making yourself look as wide as you can. The birds start to regroup, allowing the roaring giant to get closer to them. After the first bird flees into the trees, the other follows. The winner is still swinging its sail, observing you, but sparing you further noise. The little dragon steps away and imitates the movements of its parent, though if anything, it looks more like play. Time to leave. I'm just glad I saved the dragonling. I'd finished the path, chat. Oh man, just in time. What am I in time? It's already nighttime. Wow, it actually let me make it. Wow. Yeah, that took a lot of the day. 3 days. He reaches for it without thinking twice and brings it closer to his face. I do. It belonged to Admon's mother. He lowers it but holds tightly, but she's not around anymore. Where was it? He keeps shipping it until you tell him to listen to the end. He respects your wish, though he frowns so much of your wonder. So there's no shell, only a ghoul. Everyone knows what that means. He'll wake up soon. I stay quiet. Okay, I think I'm gonna try one more time. I want a quick save. I'm gonna eat a ration. I'm gonna travel to the tribe. Nope. I mean, that's what he did. Tyrus purses his lips. I want things to change is all. I wake up to awoken shells in the fogs and glossy as robbers threaten my family. All I want is for this cursed land to be normal. And yep, that warden told me he's going to take care of it. Thanks. Let's say I were to help your people with the bandits and got rid of the undead. Would you return the favor? That's all you can say? Yep. Save the North if you scrap. For the scrap of it I care about. I won't follow you into a fog. Oh, I got there late because I thought the game told me to do it late. Okay, well, I'm gonna quick load then. I gather my crew. Crossbowmen, we definitely want. I'm just gonna take all 4. Okay. Here we go, chat. Quintus shoves the boat into the water. You take a deep breath of the chilling air. You adjust your clothes. But even the second layer is barely enough to keep you warm in the breeze. You stare into the night and listen to the roaring waves. The seagulls jump between the teeth-like rocks, seeking food and rest. You look around. Bumptious is hidden inside Aegida's cabin, but you doubt it's going to have a good sleep. You turn towards the others. If you've got any questions, now's a good time to ask them. Got a few rough hours ahead, but we stick together. We're all going to make it. We're heading in danger, but we'll return as heroes. If you've got any questions, now's a good moment. Is water always so loud and angry? Dad addresses no one in particular, even if it's gorgeous. How about turn it back? Murmurs Pyros. You get in the boat and grab the planks, not used to the swing. We can do this. Oh boy. Well, the first few minutes are the slowest. You push off the sharp rocks with the oars, and even your arms, but the restless waves charge off the boat again and again. Above the dark, salty waters through the bright night, you can see the outline of High Island. You get used to the rhythm of the rowing. Your allies are focused on the struggle at hand. The waves in deeper waters get tall enough to splash your lips. That's when the harpies take their chance. The pack, a few strong, lowers their flight, seeking an opportunity to strike. Their fluttering bat-like wings try to oppose the wind. Creatures are smaller than goblins with ape-like feathers. Ape-like features, I was going to say feathers? And talons that make you think of a parrot. It's too dark to tell the color of their fur. If you can, shoot them. Aegida's bow causes havoc and keeps you safe for another few breaths. The shell of the harpies hit the water, only to get dragged away by the waves. Dalit releases one coral before she reaches for an axe, but a powerful shot tears off a harpy's head. The dead shell sinks. Pyros' first shot misses, but he reloads the crossbow with sheer strength, releasing a second coral soon after. After his target loses its paw, it screeches in pain and attempts to flee, ignoring the dark dripping blood from its stump. The remaining members of the pack take no more chances. They spread in various distances, seeking shelter. Great job. After rowing for an hour or so, you leave the coastal rocks behind. The fierce waterfall ahead won't be too difficult to reach, but it's not the spot that hides the old harbor. The wasted effort and cold winds will surely exhaust you before you find it. You look north. There's another waterfall there, a much gentler one. Dalit looks to you but says nothing. She seems to be seasick. Okay, journal. One of them... I need to reach the cave behind the closer waterfall. This is the spot. Long minutes go by and the roar of the waterfall devours all other sounds. You spend some time trying to stop the boat somewhere to look up behind the water, but to no avail. But we can't stick to the cliffs, let's enter the deep water, then head to the other waterfall. Dalit sits down on the bottom boards, visibly exhausted from seasickness. It may be better not to push her too much after you reach your destination. Finally, you reach the right spot. The wall of the island isn't flat here, and the tide lets you reach the few high ledges. Flat and wide enough for a boat. Even though it's dark, you recognize some old wooden beams, as well as a few copper rods, remains of an old structure. There's another boat, a rather small chunk of it, tied to a post just a few steps away from you. All of you get out and scrape the hull against the ash-colored rocks. The cave behind the waterfall is maybe 30 feet above you, but getting to it will take some effort. The ancient stairs and handrails have mostly fallen apart, and the slippery rocks are nothing less than a trap. The bone hook will make it much easier. You give it a shot. Not only does the hook allow you to climb up the rope, it also tests the durability of the bronze rails sticking out of the roots of the plants. You reach the higher spots of the wall quickly, followed by the rest of the group. We have 5 strong souls here. Let's move slowly, helping each other every step. Having someone always waiting on the back to help others climb up may slow you down, but your progress is indisputable, and you have enough time to secure a safe way back. Down at Quintus, lift us up to the high ledge. He bends his knees and clasps his fingers, forming a helpful step that lets everyone reach the highest shelf. No more tricks. With the bright night on your side, you look for convenient ledges, but one of the steps betrays you. You slide off, painfully scratching your knee against the wall. Take a deep breath and carry on. Your limbs grow quite tired, but you manage to reach the top. You pull yourself up in the dark mouth of the cave, the remains of the original stream. The stream roars above you. You light up a torch. The long, dark tunnel is moist and full of bats. Can't use inventory, okay. I have 1 ration. Finally off the damn boat. Dallas's face regains its color slowly. Her soaked hair is maybe now 1/8 its regular volume. I feel like I need to turn the game down just a little. This track's loud. Excuse me. I'm gonna have some water. The remains of the harbor aren't any more dignified than a pillaged hamlet. The mold and insects spared only a few scraps of wood, while the scavengers scraped any clean pieces of steel and copper. You run your eyes over the spread stone, tools, and scratches left by the dragged carts and holes. Ahead is a brick wall with no door or hinges. Pyros unpacks his belongings and prepares a bunch of fine torches. Will last us a few hours, eh? We should get going. For a few minutes, you walk by the remnants of past dwellers, scraps of fabric, stone bowls, a spot with broken chairs and a table. You walk past a few ancient bats and salamanders, plenty of spots from which water drips from the tunnel. Sooner or later, the stream will break through one of the countless cracks and reclaim its old bed. You freeze when your light touches the black and creamy fur of the beast. Not sure if you should run or give the monster a chance to turn its boulder-like head, capped with a single horn that's the size of an adult arm. Adult human. The creature may be as large and heavy as a house, but its eyes open one at a time slowly, as if they haven't decided if you're really here. Oh shit. The creature almost fills up the width of the tunnel. Your crew looks paralyzed with eyes wide open. You lower your voice to a whisper. What would you do, Dalit? Brought any giants with you, living dragons? Quintus? Quintus is too afraid to move. Pyros gives you a terrified look. Thoughts? You nay touch it. Oh boy! I'll handle it. It blinks, observing your torch. Who's a sleepy nightmare monster? Walk around it. I reach towards its horn. No, I walk around it. The beast suddenly swings its leg. sending you into the air. You're crashing to the floor, hearing the unicorn's surprised snort as you raise your head. The creature doesn't pay you any attention. It turns on its side and curls its legs under its stomach, returning to its slumber. Someone helps you get up. You move the torch away from the beast's eye. Listening to its snorts, you look ahead. There's now plenty of space to walk forward. I did it! It was a unicorn, which they're fucking giant, apparently. I was not expecting a unicorn to be that big. Only a few boulders separate you from the deep woods. The song of the sea and the hum of the stream are overshadowed by the screeches of beasts and their prey. Where there's some rusty remains of an old cart, and the gentle slope was carved by tools, it leads you towards a wall of shrubs and creepers. You get on top of a large rock. There are no roads in sight. You spot a humble trail made of hooves and paws. The worried looks of your crew are as lost as you are. I think about the map from the giant statue. While the path doesn't lead directly to the volcano, it matches the ancient trail of stars that's meant to take you on the main road, if it still exists. Quintus? See no dragons here, we can try whatever. Pyros? You don't be roadster. I'd rather follow the road. Dalit? Oh, you don't know the way? She pushes her wet hair behind her ear. If you want, we could try through the thicket, but usually let the path find you to other hunters. She pokes the bushes with her bow, right behind you. Game trail. It may be narrow, but proves to be firm and straight. The plants that surround it grow from the remains of the old road, hardened with rocks. An owl gives your group a curious glance from a branch above your heads. After a few minutes, you reach what seems to be a proper trail, beaten, wider than a wagon, leading both towards the volcano and away from it. Among the thicket, you spot the remains of a stone wall. For now, we stick to the route. The further trail is canopied by overhanging trees, blocking the moonlight. You hear panicked hooves and flapping wings, but you can hardly see anything. Pyros raises a few torches he prepared. If you're nothing better than this, we should light them up. I've got a lantern. You grab your tinderbox, crouch down, and after a few breaths, shovel a candle in it. Just pay attention to the sounds. The familiar yells and howlers fill the path ahead. The monkeys are moving among the tree crowns, barely visible, and the longer you're around, the greater the pain thumping inside your skull. Their territory is vast, and you don't need to attack you to wound you. What would you do, Dalit? She lowers her crossbow. If you can, shoot him. Vegeta is fast but barely scratches one of the jumping monkeys, though it's enough to throw it into a panic. Dalit lands a precise shot into a beast's head, bursting it open and splattering its contents. Pyros waits for a bit, then sends a coral into a howler's chest, pinning it to a tree trunk. Quintus, any ideas? He jumps in place as if he's preparing for brawl. They're not that big, let's go! We're gonna run. Having a reliable source of light with you, you manage to scare off a few howlers brave enough to get in your way. Following Quintus's unstoppable charge, you leave the beast behind without a scratch. Don't kill Monkey. Monkey, we're gonna explode our brains. The relief is short-lived. The pond ahead is swarmed with buzzing insects, and judging by the bones of a dragonling you see on the side bank, they're as hungry as they are numerous. Only road ahead leads through them, and you may lack the strength to walk through the feeding ground. I got the sting ointment! The scent of lavender, mint, and basil blends into the humid wilderness. Your group covers every ounce of their skin and wraps themselves in scraps of fabric, but waits for you to enter the cloud first. The creatures split in front of you, forming a dark tunnel. Their loud wings shine in the moonlight. This is great. I love how it's taken little elements from each thing. Can't wait to not have the thing for a section. You reach a humble valley. The trees are sparse, and the stream, while gentle, has completely distorted the path. At least the moonlight can guide you. The black saurians, covered with yellow spots, are too numerous to count, laying just a few steps away from one another, from the grasses to the branches. Most are asleep, but a few are closer, give you curious glances, sticking out, they're hiding their forked tongues rapidly. The beasts aren't massive, maybe 2 steps long. You look to the side, the hills are impassable. Examine surroundings. You vaguely recognize some shapes of fruit trees and shrubs, but no animals seem to browse on them. You crouch down. The road is marked with fresh prints left by various creatures. Thoughts? Shoves an arrow back in the quiver. There's too many. Doubt it? Animals use this path all the time, so I doubt these saurians are dangerous, and they eat mostly fruits, not meat. Pyros? Can't feed this many stomachs. We can't shoot this many thinkers. I don't know. Quintus? I'm good at running, are you? He looks around. It's not like we can fight them. I could learn something if we were to feed them, search in my bags. You don't have many options. Let's not draw their attention. We gotta move by them. Your careful steps are greeted with hisses, but the beasts either stay in their spots, not bothering you as you walk around them, or move out of your way, crossing the stream. A few of them don't even wake up. The valley once again opens into a lush forest. The path here is even narrower. We're halfway there. The path ahead is overtaken by the thicket, but the fatigue is catching up with you. The remains of a hamlet have no dwellers other than rats and snakes. We should rest here, you say to your companions. You find a flat rock, cover it with your cloak, and let yourself sit idly by before you open your bags. I should have bought that cloak. I have enough coins on me now, too. Jita sits by the ruined tower by herself, wipes her forehead with cloth, takes her boots off. Dalit sits down on another rock and grabs a bone comb. What a mess, she giggles. Pyros clasps his hand and looks around, announcing loudly he's going to start a fire. But if he fails after finding any dry wood, he takes off his shirt and sits by the entrance. Any chances we found ancient mead storage? Mumbles Quintus, then sits on the ground, leaning against the tree. Figure out what the ruins used to be. Judging by the stone wall and now collapsed tower, it could have served as a shelter for 24 humans. There are no remains of any sheds, working stations, or tools. You see nothing unusual about the surrounding rocks. Meet Dalit's eyes. Her new ponytail reveals her small ears. She had some water-resistant food with me. I got soaked on the boat, too. Ah, shit, I should have bought food for everyone. I nod. Look to Ajita. She returns your gaze and gives you a kind smile. She's ready for the next challenge. Pyros? No fancy tools, but if you want, help me fix the jacket. Quintus still alive? Duh. He mutters while looking into his bag, then smiles at you. It's easier than I thought. Good thing I brought no crossbow. I can't see shit. It'll slow me down. Let my back and limbs rest for a bit, and time to carry on. Damn it! I should have bought food. I didn't even think. I thought it was gonna be like we arrive and everything's fine. Stupidly. Ah shit! I should have the game. Yeah. You climb to the top of the wall and get a good look. The trail must have overgrown recently, but the thorny bushes won't have crossed easily. Reaching the beaten track that leads to the proper woods will take some effort. Let's divide the labor. We can get an arm's rest. Shit, I should have bought a sickle sword. Dan's out of food. Work is tiring. Would have gone faster if it wasn't for the harpies circling above you. Once you reach the next section of the trail, your stomach growls from hunger. Make sure there are no thorns stuck in your pants. The road goes straight forward, suddenly getting much wider. The ground is surrounded by collapsed branches, trampled seedlings, dead roe deer. Judging by the beaten path and the pebbles under the surface, the trail is as old as the previous ones. Think about the map. You no doubt this is the only trail on the main road, but it's not the only route. According to the stars portrayed on the statue, there should be a shortcut around here. A narrow one, but much more direct. Check for the shortcut. Behind a few fallen trunks, you find the remnants of a path. The rotten, dug-in wood stairs leading to the hill offer no support, but there's plenty of paw prints in the ground and claw marks on the trees. It's now a convenient game trail. Let's go. The narrow twisting path takes you to a creek, then down a human-carved tunnel leading through the rocky hill. The closer you are to the volcano, the more signs of humans you find. Abandoned tools, overgrown fences, and fire holes. The fruit trees and trimmed century-old oaks. The ribbon of smoke hides the stars behind it, but you still can't smell it. The mountain's upper half is black and gray, from cold lava and ashes, while the lower half is mostly green, with short but lush trees, thriving flowers and bathing in the moonlight. You see the shape of an open gate at the end of the road. This is it. The stone posts are dark from dust, but as good as new, even though the crooked plants of the wooden leaves are beyond restoration. Planks, not plants. Seeing nothing on top of the wall, you enter the partially buried ruins, with humble buildings sticking out from the layers spit out from the volcano. It takes a few breaths before the first enemy jumps on the road from the roof of the ruined hut, and your crew prepares your weapons. It's a head shorter than you and walks on hind legs, but it has the head of a raccoon. Though its ears are too small, the fangs too long, they resemble one of those of an ape. Despite its human-like posture, it leans slightly forward with arms curled up. It has no tail and keeps sniffing as if it barely sees you. Next is the boar-headed beast, with 2 sets of remarkable tusks and bristles instead of puffy fur. They're joined by 2 long-tailed rat folks and a fox folk, and a lizard folk. Let's be gentle, do not startle him, whispers Ajita with a trembling voice. Look for the leader. The tallest one of them is a beast with deer antlers. It steps forward and crouches down, touching the ground with an open palm. It doesn't make a sound, just pierces you with an almost human-like eyes. Its pack blows the twisty path forward and is carved into the mountainside. Its pack blocks, not blows. Narrow and completely open on one side. You think of the tales taught by the children of the Dragonwoods. The beast folk may be destructive, but if not threatened, they're willing to trade. You've got some food you could offer. We got no supplies. No more tools. After a few long minutes, you pull yourself up one last time, reaching the collapsing wooden platform. Then one more jump gets you onto the ground. You fall on your aching knees, gasping for air, covered in sweat, with tired eyes and bleeding fingers. There are no monsters in sight, just the trail forward. Make sure the others are safe. A howling wind pushes your crew up the short path, between the tufts of grass, sparse yellow flowers, dormant ashes, and trails of cold lava. Your legs, unused to such long wayfaring, ache. Dalit kneels down on the poorly lit ground. Someone was here long ago, but only went in one direction. I follow them slowly, looking out for animals. I don't like that the music stopped. There aren't many signs of the past dwellers. The burnt cart and collapsed shed, the digging tools made by an antler or rusty steel. The trail ends in the cave mouth. The leaves of the gate are made of stone, now ajar. You push aside the battering ram. Less work for us, chuckles Quintus. I drop my heavy bags on the grounds. Be ready to fight. The light you're carrying guides your group through the complete darkness. The polished walls of the tunnel, free of pointy rocks, were no doubt carved by human hands. Your steps are loud, unlike the gentle draft and deep stream. You pass by another corridor buried by the mountain. You gesture for the others to stop. Something behind the corner kicked a rock that is now rolling on the floor. Asterion? The ghastly scream of a human-like throat makes you take a defensive stance, but despite the passing breaths, no attack follows. Holding the light in front of you, you reach the next chamber. The undead is furiously squirming in its attempt to release itself, alternately pulling the spear that's nailing it to the wall and reaching towards you, as if it's hoping you'll fall into its embrace. There are no other corpses in sight. The creature must be starving. Vegeta covers her mouth, stopping herself from screaming. Dalit gives you a worried glance. I'm sorry. Pyro spits on the floor and then rubs it with his boot, as if he's had to do something inappropriate. If he's had done something inappropriate. Quintus stands close to the exit, forming his hands in the shape of an hourglass. The half-rotten flesh and the worn torn tunic tell you little, but Asterion's short shell is still wearing the mail you were told about. Now rusty and even more clangy than a new set. Some of the red hair and beard remain on the monstrous pale face, but most of their strands are left on the floor. The knees of the creatures are shattered. Next to them rests a large rock. A monster caught him here, something with great strength. He knew he was going to die, so he imprisoned himself. He was betrayed or maybe fell into a trap, then crawled in here. I feel like a monster caught him. But I don't know, it kind of makes me feel like he knew he was going to die. You step closer. The undead does its best to throw itself at you, but it's not strong enough. I raise my blade. When the shell stops moving, the dead hand is still clenched on your gamson. The corpse leans forward, loosely resting on the haft of a spear. The pieces of the skull are scattered over the chamber. Your crew remains silent. The light flickers. I search its bundles. No one's eager to assist you. Among the decomposing soggy bags and pouches you find a humble bunch of coins, threaded on a bowstring. Far from the 50 you were asked to find by the Pelt's innkeeper. Other than that, you find no potions, weapons, or travel kit. Only a few unassembled torches. Are you alright? Shitfire. Her shoulders slope as she steps away. Is this nay weird? How souls like this get swallowed by the forest whilst Dia sits on her throne, a dragon of bones. She gets weaker and weaker from that illness of hers, but still has enough breath to lie and scheme. Examine the cave. The centuries-old treasure spread amongst the collapsed rocks and chests is mostly beyond use, but you do notice a few tools and statuettes now made of green bronze. Judging by the simplicity of the chamber, it was most likely more than a basic storage room. The corridors leading to the deeper caves have all been buried. Let's collect the useful scraps. Since you have quite a few capable hands, the clings and rattles last for quite a bit, even though they only take most of your promising pieces. You only take most of the promising pieces to avoid encumbrance. Barrows to make sure you don't leave anything of great value behind. Let's get back to the boat. You spare the corpse one more look. Quintus is the first one to go outside. I should burn the bones. You surround Asterian's shell with a few logs and some of his own possessions. The smoke drives you outside. The fresh air makes you yawn. You grab your bags and approach the edge of the scarp. Observing the woods of the high island, you recognize the trail that led you here from the valley of the Saurians. Damn. You help your group tie up the boat to the piling. Jita, worried by Bumchus, is the first one to enter the hamlet. The others start their plan to return home. Dalit makes sure her crossbow didn't suffer from the salt water. She's seasick again, doesn't say much, but her giggling remains as honest as ever. Pyrrhus recalls the dangerous encounters from a few hours back, though in his tales, he's the one who saved your skin each time. Quintus is moody, though you can't tell if he'd rather fall asleep, get drunk, or eat a boar. I better get ready. You scratch Bumptious' neck, take off your bundles, splash your face with cold water. Now you need to take everyone to safety before you can stop someone for the night. A flock of rooks and crows flee from the crossroads. The bushes are rustling, the carcass is fresh, and so are the footprints. You take a quick look at Tullia's work. The wolf, lured by the scent of blood, ran through the shrubs, breaking a few twigs, but the few stabs it received were deadly precise, reaching the organs. Not trusting your surroundings, you have to take Bumptious with you, repeatedly tethering and releasing it as you make progress. With the help of your axe and a long stick, You push aside the barricade of leaves and thorns, prod the ripe plums and sour apples, then catch them into a spread bag. You could use an extra pair of hands. Make sure the fruits won't get squished. I found Asterion. You tell an abridged story of your version of your story, but you struggle to read anything from the innkeeper's eyes. Once you're done, he tensely moves his shoulders, waiting for something. Here's the dragon bones he had in the cave. I'm afraid it's not close to 50. He taps his finger on the counter and takes a deep breath. Could be worse. Keep 5 of them. He looks down. May an ape shit on his head. Looks like I've been conned. The darkness of the room gives his eyes a sad look. You didn't know him, but what do you think? Was he a crook? I don't think he would have tried to steal from you, and if he did, he probably had a good reason for it. He purses his lips. Maybe. Maybe not. There's only so much trust I'm willing to give him. I'm gonna keep my hopes low. You wake up later than usual, then think about feeding Bumptious. It's skinnier than on the day you crossed Hag Hills. I go look for Tulia. She's waiting for you by the window, having her possessions rolled up in orderly bundles and a sword by her side. She greets you with a kind nod. Today's the day. I found Asterion. Tulia doesn't interrupt you, nodding as she's keenly listening to your tale about clues and rumors, the old tribes, the awakened corpse. So what do you make of it? Not the brightest death I could wish for someone. I don't know what to think. I'd like to learn his own perspective. Well, we won't read his soul. Let it go, it's in the past. His death seems so pointless. Her sad eyes betray her nonchalant voice. The right of nature take us with a reason, without a reason, I guess. She stretches out, heads upstairs, and brings you a few items. There's enough of them to make her stumble, but she covers her embarrassment with chuckle. Well, this is my part of the deal. She rests 2 weapons against the table. You move the cloth wrapped around the spear's head. It's sharp, made of steel. The shaft is made of a thick oak. Asterion must have had pretty large hands. It's partially covered with the linen cord and leather straps intended to support one's grip. The bow is currently unstrung, but it would be about 5 feet long. The polished red oak shines in the light. You wonder if you're too old to learn how to shoot such a weapon. The leather pouch must be decades old. You shake it, there's a few bones inside, but also something made of metal. You reach for the earthenware bottles. 3 of them are very similar to each other. As small as your fist, and they're each sealed with wax, though the tiny sticks in them will enable swift opening. Tully explains that they contain small amounts of a healing concoction. The last bottle is much larger. 2 letters are engraved on its surface, NB. The soldier has no idea what it is. Bump just spares you a glance as you reach toward your bundles, then return its nap. You take a deep breath. You could have taken the easy way out. Oh, hydrate. You take a deep breath. You could have taken the easy way out, but you didn't. Your back, buttocks, and legs are aching from the long journey. The first night you spent on the peninsula could be a lifetime ago, yet you're still here. And who knows, maybe even rich. Are you all packed and ready? She rests her hands and knees, then straightens up. I am if you are. You look outside. It's early enough for you to reach the settlements on the other side of Hag Hills. Let's introduce you to Bumptious. You're going to spend a lot of time together. The owners recognize you and the bless of the Empress in. This time around, you got a few dragon bones to spare, and you spend the night in a proper bed, holding a mug of steaming pigeon soup. The days fade away slowly. With Tulia by your side, you can't simply outrun the autumn predators. And a few times, your journey gets violent. Still, she's a good companion, eager to kill the boredom with an idle chat. After all the fighting I did north, the road isn't too rough. After 2 days, the roads get wider and harder. You meet the first patrol of soldiers, as well as spot the familiar stone statues of local heroes. We're here, says the lieutenant. In the last village you visit before breaching the city walls. Without explaining, she approaches a few red-haired farmers that are observing you curiously from the bench of front of a pit house. After exchanging a few words with them, Tulia gestures towards you. Roadwarden is the one you should be thanking for finding him. The strangers keenly listen to your tale, then, with smiles clouded by grief, thank you for your bravery. A man who looks younger than the rest can't stop his tears once he hears his pa has been spared the cursed fate and found to end in his flames. After a silent yet delicious meal, you resume your journey, carrying with you their names and invitation. I wish I knew what really pushed their father to do all this. After taking care of a few chores, you leave your mount in the stables, which, as often happens, are almost empty. Your eyes are used to the usual conglomerate of ruins, the makeshift huts and sheds, the restored whitewashed house, and the few well-kept residences that managed to outlast the invasion. The streets are busy, plenty of children and their young working parents. Hovland may have been sick in the past, but it's healing patiently. You take your equipment to the backwood corner. It's a bit pricey, but your friends at the 8 Bale and Boar happy to offer you a short stay. You listen to the rumors, but as the minutes go by, no one approaches you or asks for your help. The trade goes by and fine, you hear. City chief has a daughter now. The new ship is ready to sail. Taxes are coming. Harpies have taken a few lambs from the traveling merchant, but at least the kids are safe. I remain watchful. You ignore the growing drunken crowd so familiar to you and get a good sleep. You head downstairs and ask the remains of the last day's supper, ibex stew, a piece of rat pie, and a mug of kefir. You listen to the Emperor's Mask, the hymn of the old times coming from the window. Hovland's returning to work. When the messenger shows up, you let out a sigh. The merchants want to see you in an hour. You spend some time at a public bathhouse chatting with your tails-hungry, naked neighbors, then prepare your somewhat clean outfit. In the streets, you blend in with the working folk. On your way, the familiar faces spare you a few nods, but as always, the city folk are too busy trying to outcompete one another, seeking dignity in the realm that belongs to the riches and the priests. To gather my thoughts, I spend some time wandering the marketplace. After a few hours of exhausting examination, you lean against the wall, observing the arguing leaders. Their jewelry and rare furs could provide for many northern families, maybe even pay for a new stronghold. Aside from the chief and his most trusted advisors, the room is filled with members of the guild, though some of the more significant individuals did not deign to show up. At least you had more luck than that poor wretch, mentions one of the traders. No one here remembers the Styrian's name. The news you brought from the island is of great value. You ask for something to clear your throat. Your detailed description of the peninsula made quite an impression, and you may be asked to speak with a cartographer later. Getting in touch with so many northerners helped you describe the complex web of connections. You fill the gaps in your report. You discuss the recent disappearance of a trading caravan. Eusidia's stubbornness, your familiarity with the heart of the woods, the rumored access from the coast, the copper vein, the shelter by the northern road, the now flooded mine in the south. Still, it's your dealings with the tribes that would have the greatest impact on their decision. I relax and wait for them to address me. The oldest soul at the table who started her life in the guild as a simple innkeeper smiles at you. Where do you think we should start, Dan? What do you mean? When the artisan chips in, we need to discuss this in great detail. Of course, if we can't bring guards and builders to all the villages at once, since you know the peninsula better than anyone, where do you think would be the best starting place? Old Pagos will need you. It has a lot to offer. Clerk puts a wax tablet on the pile, then opens another one, letting out a long sigh. I keep writing the peninsula. Does that place have a name? There's one I can think of. How would you call the peninsula? Jam-face dumper. No, I'm too invested. I can't name it something silly. I don't know. Lost Haven. After 3 days, you take part in a brief meeting of the guild's chambers. You're welcomed by a few council representatives. You're going to move forward with the investment. You finally hear, your services are much appreciated. You return to the street with a wooden casket, heavy with dragon bones. It will provide for you until summer, but you doubt the tribes of the peninsula would take you in open arms. I can still find a new home. The flow of merchants, soldiers, explorers, and supplies brought many changes to the north. While some of the tribes tried to stay independent, they couldn't resist the temptation of new inventions, crops, and security. After a few generations, the sparse settlements were indistinguishable from the other regions of the province, with safe roads, strong walls, and regular visitors. The trade route following the Western Trail greatly benefited from the dwellers of the Pelt of the North. After a few more years, they moved to the city, living off the savings and occasionally mercenary work, forming an experienced squad. The inn, purchased by the city officials, remained one of the few shelters in the dangerous north. One of the new guards was Tulia, who arrived to Pelt soon after losing her squad, seeking stable work among the hunters. While Haller's Dell wasn't at first considered a crucial part of the new trade route, Thias's charm managed to bridge the gap between her and the council representatives. If there were any objections, they were muffled underneath her iron fist. However lacking in resources, the village could never be fully free of its dependence on the other tribes. More and more words of the city folk sunk into the speech of the locals, and as time went on, their customs changed. After the priest to the right arrived, the mayor was among the first souls to convert. the influence of the druids dwindled, never to recover. Agidia spent a few seasons alone, practicing magic and archery until she felt ready to return home, only to realize that her village was now fully under Thias' control. She managed to reach Haviland, then joined a group of adventurers, never staying in one place for long. Steep House didn't stay alone for long. The people of Howlers worked together with the city folk, turning the scattered bricks and logs into a wall to protect the trail from beasts and woodlands, getting rid of any trace of the Northerners' wrongdoings. Damn. The tribe of Pagos lost many lives to the plague, and even more so to the harsh winter, but the village survived as united as ever. Thanks to a revitalized trade route, the locals returned to their craft, providing essential material to the now growing security of the northern roads and settlements. Their famous statues soon reached the houses in the city. The tribe kept their savings for the darker days, but many years would pass before they felt hunger again. Tertia stayed in the village, but rejected the further responsibilities of a leader, returning to the power of the elders. She spent a few years patrolling the roads until, wounded by a werebadger, she became a combat instructor. Quintus eagerly joined his friends at Pelt. His next years were full of brave hunts and drinking until he mixed the two a bit too much, barely escaping a runner. With the help of his companions, he became a path toward maturity. Aw. Well, Haviland wasn't... I don't know why, like... I suddenly on the verge of crying. I don't know why. I felt the tears in the back of my eyes. While Haviland wasn't eager to directly support the monks, the easier access to suppliers helped them sustain their work for a century. However, after a violent earthquake, the mountain collapsed under its own weight, burying many souls' lives. Well, the monks are all dead. White Marshes, facing growing pressure from the soldiers and inquisitors, buried any routes that connected it with the rest of the peninsula. Troubled yet isolated, it collapsed after Rentius' sudden death, becoming the largest fortress of undead in the north. After years of waiting, the growing strength of the skeletons gave it a human-like mastery of Numa. This mage began a short campaign against the tribes and caravans, feeding on their blood, but facing the fierce opposition of Haviland's soldiers. It was pushed into Hag Hills, forcing to wait for the fogs to come. So everyone in White Marshes died. The poorly guarded, foggy lake was among the first places taken over by the wave of the undead coming from fucking... The fire that occurred during the break-in consumed the entire hamlet. Well, that's sad. Thanks to the new supplies gained through trade, the children of the creeks grew strong, but far from being rich. While the village was bursting with life, constantly pursuing new ideas for a better tomorrow, most of them ended in nothing. On the other hand, the locals never tired themselves too strongly with the city, and maintained their unusual customs. Ella quickly realized that keeping the roads safe was a much better way to earn dragon bones than selling his crooked chairs and tables. While he wasn't a fighter, he often joined the merchants traveling the peninsula, exchanging news and suggesting new investments. In the meantime, he gladly engraved the shapes of animals on cups and plates. Ephron, shaken by what happened to his friends, spent a few years traveling with caravans and learning about the other tribes, about more efficient, disciplined ways of organizing hunts and foraging trips. While it wasn't easy for him to influence his family, his efforts saved many lives in the younger generations. The people of Gale Rock need little help, and after selling the excess of fish and salt, they received enough crops and tools to prosper, sticking to their familiar edge of the world. In the years to come, their days were good, and for the most part, remained the same. But with difficulty, the road leading through the heart of the forest was restored, maintained by the combined efforts of soldiers and locals. Glaucia kept raiding the people of White Marshes, and bothering them for years. She lost most of her companions to blades, claws, and illness. Ashamed of her weakness, she left her camp one spring dawn, never to return. Eudocia put the bronze rods to use, sending her creations beyond the boundaries of her sight. Bored with work and having all the resources she needed, She spent many days locked in her house, meeting no one, even if they came to see her. Often the food delivered to her was left to rot in the barrel, right where it was dropped. After a few decades, a group of adventurers reached her house to ask for help. They told stories of the many wonders they saw, but claimed that the witch was nowhere to be found. The tribe of the Green Mountain, worried about the growing presence of the city folk, ended up blocking the trail that connected them to the rest of the peninsula. Every once in a while, the rumors of pagans of weird tongue, seen by the eastern trail, spread among the merchants, but a keen listener would notice that such tales always differed when it came to describing the tribe's clothing, weapons, and skin. Dan, the Roadwarden of Lost Haven, didn't receive the backing of the city officials. They sought new opportunities as the traveling mercenary, hoping to find a place that would hire them for longer, but after drawing plenty of attention, their past finally caught up with them, and the consequences were even more severe than they expected. I'm gonna blame Howler's Dell for killing me. What a good game. I'm so curious, like, what could have happened differently. What happened to Bumptious? Bumptious lived happily forever. Damn. I kind of like the no time limit because I want to just do everything. Standard's rough, man. You really feel every wasted day. But it was great. Man, like, everything with Asterion was just, like, such a bummer, and I'm, like, so curious. Could you figure out, like, what he was actually trying to do? Like... Yeah, 30-day limit and increased nighttime damage. The increased nighttime damage isn't bad because it looks like when you go to seek shelter, you can't die. Because there were a few times we lost health. Like more health that would have killed us, but it didn't. But man, fuck Howler's Dell. Fuck White Marshes. They killed Foggy. I just wanted to live happily ever after with Eudocia. That's all I wanted. Like, I still never even found, like, that one hunter. The two hunters were dead, but I'm assuming the third one was also dead. I'm curious if you can actually, like, stop White Marsh from using the undead. Because I thought telling Glossia the secrets would have led to her attacking, but man, Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a game I replay. I probably won't stream it again just because of how much talking it was. But holy crap, it was so good. I literally kept dreaming about it every time I wasn't playing it. And hey, if you play it, I would love to hear what happened differently for you. Man. It's good. Good game. How's my voice? It's fine. Well, I don't really have anything else planned for the day. I think I'm just gonna throw you guys to a raid if anyone's still going. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Well, I keep thinking it's like 2 a.m. Todd's doing some editing. If you would like to hang. Barry's losing his mind. What's Barry doing? Patrick's Parabox. Oh, that's a great game. So good. It is very mind-numbing. Sun goes down, must be midnight. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging with me, everyone. I know this wasn't my usual jam, but I loved it. We're gonna rate Todd. He's doing some chill editing. We'll be back to, like Bloodborne and other shit. I'm gonna go make dinner. Get back to work. Thanks for hanging with me, all. Highly recommend the game. If you only caught only a little bit of it and liked what you saw, super recommend it. Alright, have a good one, y'all. See you later in the week.